When Elon Musk discovers a Tesla worker is homeless, it sparks an unexpected chain of events. What unfolds will change everything. Jake Ray woke up to the sound of his car's engine idling in the chilly pre-dawn hours. The dashboard lights cast a faint glow across the cramped interior, where his 8-year-old daughter, Maya, slept curled up beneath a pile of blankets. He sighed, rubbing his hands together to chase away the cold. Another day, another shift at Tesla. The Fremont factory wasn't far, but Jake always left early to avoid the curious glances of his coworkers. He couldn't risk anyone discovering that the parking lot doubled as his home. Homelessness wasn't supposed to happen to people like him. He had a job, a good one by most standards, but in Silicon Valley, even that wasn't enough to keep a roof over their heads.
Daddy.
Maya's voice broke the silence as she stirred. Her wide brown eyes blinked up at him, sleep still heavy in her voice. Are we having pancakes this weekend? Jake forced a smile. Of course, sweetheart. Pancakes with extra syrup, just how you like them. He didn't mention that he wasn't sure if they could afford groceries this week. It didn't matter. Maya's optimism was a beacon in his world, and he would do anything to keep it alive. The factory floor hummed with activity as Jake fell into the rhythm of assembling battery modules. Precision and speed were key. One slip, and the entire line could falter. He kept his head down, focused on the task, until a ripple of whispers broke his concentration. Elon's here, someone muttered. Jake's hands faltered. Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire, rarely made unannounced visits. When he did, it wasn't to exchange pleasantries. Minutes later, Musk appeared, flanked by a small entourage. He moved with purpose, his sharp eyes scanning every detail. To Jake's shock, Musk stopped near his station. How's it going? Musk asked, his tone casual but direct. Jake swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. It's going well, sir. Just trying to keep up. Musk nodded, then glanced at the scuffed work boots on Jake's feet. How long have you been with us? 3 years, Jake replied, his voice steady despite the nerves tightening his chest. Before Musk could move on, another worker joked, Jake here's the hardest worker in the place. Man's so dedicated. He practically lives here. Jake's stomach dropped. Musk raised an eyebrow, his curiosity clearly piqued. Is that true? For a moment, Jake considered lying. But something in Musk's gaze stopped him. I've been going through a tough time, he admitted. Housing's expensive around here. Musk said nothing, but the flicker of shock in his expression was unmistakable. By lunchtime, Jake's interaction with Musk had become the talk of the factory. Word traveled fast, and it didn't take long for Edwin Stone, the head of operations, to summon him to his office. Edwin leaned back in his leather chair, his fingers steepled. Jake, I understand you spoke to Mr. Musk this morning. Jake nodded, his throat dry. He asked me a question. I answered. Edwin's smile didn't reach his eyes. Let me be clear. Mr. Musk's time is valuable. We don't want to burden him with personal issues that could distract from our goals. Do you understand? Jake clenched his fists beneath the table. Yes, sir. But as he left the office, shame burned in his chest. Why should he feel guilty for telling the truth? The next day, Jake was summoned again, this time to a meeting with Musk himself. He arrived at a sleek conference room, his nerves frayed. Musk gestured for Jake to sit. Tell me more about your situation, he said, his tone uncharacteristically soft. Jake hesitated, then spoke. He explained how rising rent prices had forced him out of his apartment, how he'd tried everything to keep Maya's life as stable as possible. By the time he finished, Musk's expression had hardened, not with anger, but with resolve. That's unacceptable, Musk said. No one working here should be in that position. Word of Jake's meeting spread quickly, and Edwin Stone's frustration boiled over. That afternoon, Jake was called back to Edwin's office. I warned you, Edwin snapped. Now you've created a spectacle. Jake's voice was steady. I just told the truth. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Edwin leaned forward, his tone icy. Consider this your final warning. Keep your personal life out of this, or there will be consequences. When Musk learned of Edwin's threats, he called an emergency meeting. Jake was brought in, along with Edwin and several other executives. "Explain yourself," Musk demanded, fixing Edwin with a piercing stare. Edwin fumbled for words, trying to frame Jake as a disruption. But Jake, emboldened by the moment, spoke up. He described the pressures workers faced and the fear of retaliation for speaking out. Musk listened intently, then turned to Edwin. "This ends now." A week later, Musk announced a groundbreaking initiative to support Tesla's workforce. The plan included higher wages, housing stipends, and resources for employees facing financial hardships. The announcement made headlines, casting Tesla in a new light. As for Edwin, his role was quietly restructured. Jake suspected he wouldn't be around much longer. With a new housing stipend, Jake was able to rent a modest apartment. For the first time in months, Maya had her own bed, and Jake felt a weight lift from his shoulders. One evening, as he watched Maya color at the kitchen table, he felt a sense of hope he hadn't known in years. Life was far from perfect, but it was better. And for now, that was enough. Jake's story inspired other workers to come forward, sharing their struggles and finding support. The factory's culture began to shift, fostering a sense of community that had been missing for too long. Months later, Jake received a handwritten note from Musk. "Thank you for your honesty. It's workers like you who remind us why we do what we do." Jake tucked the note away, his resolve stronger than ever. His journey had been difficult, but it proved that even in the face of adversity, change was possible, if someone was brave enough to speak up. Subscribe to our channel for soul-stirring stories.